Well, happy Friday, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I know, good to see you too. Yeah, Friday. Your weekend begins in about 2 hours and 54 minutes, but I give you permission to just mentally check out right now and just coast on your employer's dime for the last 3 hours of the work week. My first guest is a guy that, he's just a hero. If you run any kind of business that enjoys bits, this guy just makes a bit, does it. And there's a level of bravery here to what Alex Stein does. Alex Stein, primetime Alex Stein. You've heard him on the James Show maybe before. You've probably seen him floating around on your social media feed. But I was going to have him on the show anyway, and then he went to the Dallas City Council and gave him a little what for in a public meeting about Luka. He's dressed as a ref.
Technical foul on the Mavericks. Ejection, Nico Harrison. Listen, I come up here all the time and I give you guys the business, but today I am not an adversary. Today I am a friend, not a foe, because we have all been cheated. The Dallas Mavericks traded our franchise player, Luka Doncic, for Anthony Day-to-Day Davis, a 32-year-old who wears street clothes more than he wears a basketball jersey. I am sick and tired of our city being mismanaged by our pro sports franchise. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. They hired Brian Schottenheimer. He stinks. He's never even been a coach at any level, so I'm sick of it. They gave us a crappy coach, and now you take away our best player, Luka Doncic. And it's all work. It's obviously rigged. The NBA is rigged. There's a ref, Tim Donaghy, who got arrested and went to jail for rigging games. So let me tell you something. This is why I come here, because Miriam Adelson is about to move this team. That's right. They're not going to get any legal gambling here in Dallas. So that's why they're taking the Mavericks to get good favor with the league, so that when they say we want to move the team to Las Vegas, the league will say, oh, well, you helped us out so much. You gave the league's biggest star, Luka Doncic, to play with LeBron James, the league's biggest other star. And so you help our ratings that are massively failing. And let me tell you something. I have experience in this. I'm a youth basketball referee. This is real. And there was a time when I was drinking and I was using and I was in a low point. And I'll be honest, I have fixed a youth basketball tournament. And it was not my proudest moment, but I needed the money at the time. My wife was, seeing other men, and I caught her, and I was just at a really low point. So my point is, I've done this, and I've done this at the youth level. So it is obviously an inside job when you give your best player to another team for 0 draft picks, 1 first-round draft pick in 2029. We're not even going to have a team in 2029. So I just want to say we have to investigate Nico. I'm sick and tired of it. So I wrote this song. Nico, you stabbed us in the back. Nico, you also freaking whack. Mavericks, please don't leave our town. I don't give a damn if our new center is brown. I like the white guy. Why do you have to go? These damn basketball players don't freaking know. The whole league is a work. This is a freaking jerk named Nico Harrison, who is the manager. He needs to freaking go. Nico is a hoe. I love the Dallas Mavericks, and I wish we still had Dirk. Nico Harrison sucks. He is a stupid jerk. So, Mayor, don't let him move us. Don't let him move the Mavericks. I love the Mavericks. Nico Harrison, you suck, dude. I know you watch this, Nico. If I see you in the streets, it's freaking on-site, man. We're going to be yelling and screaming right in your face. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now my guest joining us is the guy you just heard, primetime Alex Stein from The Blaze. Welcome back to the James Show. Good work, sir.
Well, thank you, James. That was insane. You made me listen to that whole thing. And, obviously that's satire, but I've gotten 2 critiques. The first critique is, and I'm a diehard Mavericks fan. I know you work in Dallas. You're based in Dallas. People listening are all in Dallas. But I guess I never pronounce people's names right, because I always used to say Dirk Nowitzki all the time, kind of like a V, and I don't know if that's the proper terminology. But how do I say Luka's last name? Because everybody's like, oh, you're a fair weather fan because you said Doncic. And I didn't say it right. So how do you say? I
think you're supposed to CH both of those C's. Doncic.
Doncic instead of Doncic. Is that what I did wrong? Because
Alex.
It's got millions of views, and they keep on saying he can't even say Luka's name right.
Bro, my Slovenian is rusty. Okay, let's just say that. No, here. Question though. That was 3 straight minutes, and how much of that did you memorize in advance versus improvised on the spot?
0. The only thing is I've just been hearing that term. I'm not going to this is stolen valor, but that Anthony Day-to-Day Davis, I didn't write that. That's one of the first criticisms that I heard about
Oh
Anthony
yeah,
Day.
he's Anthony Street Clothes Davis.
Of course, but I mean, I had never heard the term day-to-day Davis. I've heard street clothes, this and that, but as soon as you got to the Mavericks, like, oh, the Dallas Mavericks got Anthony day-to-day Davis, and very rarely do I laugh out loud at just a statement like that. I'm like, what a name, what a nickname, And so that was the only thing that I planned. I was like, well, I'm going to say that we traded for Anthony day-to-day Davis, but even the song, because James, when I go to these meetings, I want to make it awkward. I want to make it like Curb Enthusiasm, but the sad thing is they kind of already know who I am at Dallas. So it ruins it a little bit because they know they expect something. So I just almost have to keep on getting more unhinged as it goes to try to get a response from them. So it's not an easy thing to do, but this is my favorite thing that I hear from people is when they come up to me. And obviously, I really appreciate when somebody's like, "Oh, I love your content. I love your videos. I follow you." My favorite thing to hear is when somebody says, "You know what, Alex? Because I saw that you acting so stupid at City Hall, it encouraged me to go speak at my city council." And I've encouraged a lot of people to speak, and that's the one thing that makes me feel like I know I'm doing the right thing, even though I look like a buffoon, even though I'm acting like an idiot. If I can just get a few more people to go speak at these public meetings and voice their opinions and concerns, we can make the world a better place.
Alex, can you hang on with me for about 4 minutes? I took up most of your segment playing your city council
Yeah,
bid.
no worries.
All right, we'll
No
continue
worries.
with Primetime Alex Stein from Blaze Media, and we'll get his thoughts on the news, the headlines from North Texas of the day. 800-288-9227 if you want to chime in. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the James Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We're continuing with my guest, Alex Stein. Hey, Alex, our sister station, KLIF, is hosting an event with Brian Kilmeade on February 26th. This is your informal invitation. Why don't you come out and be part of it, say hi, and meet some of our talk radio fans?
Sure. Yeah, I'd definitely like to meet Brian, too. You know, Tucker's my biological stepfather, so for me, all of the people at Fox News are kind of like distant family. So, yes, I would like to go do that. I'll be there. And, James, you know, we didn't really talk about the politics of it, but I'm sick that the Mavericks gave away Luka. I mean, I feel so cheated as a Dallas citizen. And I didn't even like the NBA. I was mad at the NBA, but for them to take the one good thing that we had, it just feels like a really bad double cross.
Okay. You are a little bit younger than me. Do you remember the Herschel Walker trade? Because it sounds, you know, the public was in an uproar. Why would you get rid of our best player? He's a generational talent. And they were. Herschel Walker was amazing, but it laid the seeds for the triplets to come in afterwards and win 3 out of the next 4 Super Bowls. And it turned out that was one of the best things that ever happened to the franchise. So I am cautious to even grade this trade until we see what we get out of it. Like maybe in 3 or 4 years, we can look back and know if this was a good trade. I don't even know if we can know at this point if this benefits the team.
James, you're spoken like a true media man. First of all, the difference between the Herschel Walker trade and this trade is that we got multiple draft picks for Herschel Walker. And for Luka Doncic, we got 1 draft pick in 2029 when KD was traded to Phoenix.
Say it again. What's his last name?
We got Luka Doncic. It doesn't matter.
Doncic.
My point is, whatever the Luka's last name is, I don't speak Slovenian. We got 1 draft pick. When they traded Kevin Durant to Phoenix, I believe they got 8 draft picks. Same with Herschel Walker. We got 8 draft picks. And with the Herschel Walker trade, yeah, I mean, that was not a good trade for Minnesota. That was very beneficial for Dallas at the time. But the same people would argue that maybe it's better for the league if Herschel Walker and the Dallas Cowboys have all these draft picks. Is it better for the league if the Dallas Cowboys are, winning Super Bowls? Is it better for the league if the Lakers are winning NBA championships?
Yeah.
I like to get into the conspiracy of it. It doesn't make sense. It's not about the trade. It's not even the X's and O's. It's not even about the score on the court.
It's all rigged, huh? Okay.
I think so. You don't think so, James?
I have a hard time thinking the NBA's rigged because I just saw a game where it was like 147 to 100. What are we playing, like double dribble?
But have you never heard of Tim
Yeah,
Donaghy,
I've heard of that. Yeah, the points.
James, so you know a ref that got arrested for fixing games. You know it. He's admitted it. And he said that he works with other people. So you have that on record, but you still don't think that it could be rigged, even though you know and you have concrete evidence of somebody rigging games?
Well, some of them could be rigged, but I don't think that's the system at large or the norm. You had 1 ref that's been proven to rig games. That doesn't mean like the NBA even knew about it or was okay with it, or there's even 10 guys in the NBA that do that.
Okay, well, I mean, and I would think, James, you're a smart guy too. Do you realize how important gambling is to these leagues?
Well, see, that's why I want them to go ahead and build the casino here where the old Reunion Arena was. And we can keep the Mavericks here, and the Edelsons will be happy, and we can have all
but real quick with the NBA, did you know that they had to take bench players? They had to take away their prop bets because there was an NBA player purposely tanking prop bets. Did you hear about that, James?
I didn't hear about that.
Look at that. Forget the players' names. But I'm saying now they can't even take prop bets on bench players in the NBA because there was a player that got caught doing that. And there's been multiple athletes that have been caught, James, using gambling apps. Multiple players. You know that, and in the college level and the pros. So you have professional athletes that can gamble on their own games. So for me, that opens up the possibility of fraud. So yeah, I mean, and like the 2020 election, I don't know if we're allowed to say that. I think that got stolen. So I just think
right.
A lot
but
of
listen,
definitely
some people cheat on their SATs. That doesn't mean everyone's SAT score is a scam or the SATs or a scam. That just means there's been some corrupt elements working within that framework. But let's get back to some Dallas news here. You know, I saw Sarah Gonzalez, your colleague over at the Blaze, down at the protest, And she was having a good old time telling him, go home. If you like that flag so much, why are you here? And just having fun with him. Have you had any fun with the protesters around here? Because I know that's something you excel at.
Yes, I love the protest, and there actually is one this afternoon starting at 5 p.m. at the ICE headquarters. It is 8201 North Stemmons Freeway. It starts at 5 p.m., and Sarah Gonzalez is one of my best friends. Her work is incredible, and she's fearless. But I'm going there with a sign today. I'm in a meeting. I'm about to leave here. I'm in Arlington. I'm going to go straight there at 4:45, and I'm going to have a huge sign that says "Big Booty Latinas can stay." And I'm going to go there and try to be nice to them.
That'll make you some friends.
That's what I'm trying to do, though, James. I don't want them to kill me. I'm going to say, listen, but some of the guys will be like, you know what, you can go, but your abuela can stay. Is the angle that I think I'm going to take.
Maybe not his abuela. That's his grandmother.
Well, I'm just saying ladies can stay.
Yeah,
I mean, even elder ladies. Ladies are allowed to stay, but the men, it's like Titanic. Actually, I don't want the children either. The children can go too, but the women, they can get on life raft.
Well, see, this is a discussion I've seen going on behind closed doors in sort of Team Red circles. Is I've had some guys like it's amazing how quickly people will relax their philosophical foundations, and they'll say like 9s and ups aren't illegal. They can't be deported, and that's wrong. You should not. Either they're legal or they're illegal.
James, that's right. James, if they're a 9, they deserve to stay here, okay? They're blessed by the Lord with perfect genetics. No, we need them reproducing to try to make some of us ugly ones look better. No, the 9s, the people that are genetically gifted, the athletes, if they're a great baseball player, I don't care if they come here illegally from Cuba. If they can hit a baseball 400 feet, I'll give them citizenship. That's the difference between just a normal Trin de Arruga gang member and the special ones that deserve to stay, in my opinion.
Well, what's the visa program, the O1 visas, where we have like superior talents, like what Luca was on or what super rocket scientists are on? Maybe there's a place
we have that for
that.
hot people. Yes. That's a fact.
How would you even gauge that? How would you even gauge that? All right, Alex Stein, so you're going to go to this protest. Are you going to get some audio and share it with me so I can use it on the show on Monday?
Yes, I will, James. Anything that I get, because I told you the idea. And like I said, because Sarah went there, and it is easy, and at the same time, it's nerve-wracking going to the protest and being adversarial, like kind of riling them up, antagonizing a little bit. But going there and trying to be their friend, for me, I feel like that's where it's better, especially at the trans protest, because when I yell and scream, they'll hit me back, and then it just gets messy. It's almost better to try to have some sort of conversation. That ends up, like Sarah's content's great. Her yelling back and forth, that's always good too.
But she's cute. She's not going to get beat up.
Yeah, but it's also good too. Of course not. But she would probably kick their butt. My point is, though, it is good too to kind of not be super adversarial and let them say their crazy things. It's kind of why I'm against censorship. Even if somebody has the most repugnant views, like Kanye West, I don't agree with any of the stuff he's tweeting. But we kind of need to see that so people realize what's going on. Like, that's why I like to hear opposing opinions, even if I disagree with them wholeheartedly. I just feel like we need to have that conversation.
All right, tell us about your work at Blaze Media.
Well, guys, I got a show, Primetime with Alex Stein, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Well, actually, Monday through Thursday. But usually I'm traveling on Mondays. So we do the show remote. And please watch it. We're on YouTube. We're on the Blaze platform. If you can't find it, you're not looking hard enough. And follow me on Twitter. And like I said, James, I'm about to be at this protest. So if you're listening to this in about 3 hours, look at my Twitter and my YouTube, and I should have a video of me at the protest.
Oh, I'll be checking it out. This is Primetime Alex Stein from Blaze Media. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, James.
Coming up next, Lieutenant Commander Joe Cardinale, the former NYPD lieutenant commander. He has some warnings about, there's some ICE crackdowns, and then there's some ICE impersonators, and they're actually getting caught during these illegal immigration crackdowns. And that becomes a weird question of, well, if ICE approaches you, how do you know if it's a real ICE member or a fake one? We'll ask Joe Cardinale next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome back to the James Show. I'm your host, James Parker, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Happy Friday. Listen, I want to go ahead and, before we get into my next guest, give you a little preview of what we're going to talk about after that. I'm going to ask you, what's your go-to party food? And you're like, James, what is this, the TLC channel or whatever? No, and it could be something manly. You can say like ribs, like a whole rack of ribs is my Super Bowl snack. I'm not trying to candy up the place. I just want to know. I'm going to be partying this weekend, and I like food, and I like new food suggestions. I'll be giving you sort of the go-to party food of my people coming up. But I just want to ask you what yours is. You can call in, or I think most of you are going to send it via Facebook or an email, james@wbap.com. But let me know for the Super Bowl party this weekend, what's your go-to party food? My next guest, maybe we should just ask him that too. Retired Lieutenant Commander from the NYPD, Joe Cardinale, soon to be a New York State Assemblyman, if everything goes correctly. But Joe, do you welcome to the show.
Yeah, I say buffalo chicken dip.
Buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
Okay.
You come out with the your 5 different that you put in there with the blue cheese. You put in Frank's red hot sauce, and then you shred the chicken, and you mix it all together. You bake it up a little bit, and the stuff is great.
What do you
make it as hot as you want, or as mild as you want?
So it's a dip. Do you use tortilla chips or Fritos, or do you have a preference?
We like the Tostitos. We like them. The scoops are really good for them. The scoops are really good.
Dude, I'm a big fan of the scoops as well. All right, Joe Cardinale, let's lean on your law enforcement background. I'm seeing a whole lot of headlines and people out there who seem surprised that ICE raids are happening. They seem surprised that they're happening at people's places of business, even if that place of business is a school. And they're like, "Good, you voted for this." Yeah, I think this is kind of exactly what we voted for, Joe.
Absolutely. People have to understand that, they're looking at it from the way it's being presented on television from the stations that are like, oh, these poor illegal migrants. You don't understand. They don't understand. You do. All right. That we have the worst of the worst here right now. And what Tom Homan's doing is he's taking the worst of the worst and starting with them and getting rid of them. Once you establish that, once you send back the worst of the worst, all right, then you could start working on a plan of how you deal with everything else. But the main focus right now is to get rid of these gangs, and they're from every walk of life, from every country. All right, and you and I laughed about it one time, but remember we were speaking about how I would get rid of them by loading up the C-4 transports, putting them up in the air, and put parachutes on their back and tell Venezuela, you're getting them back one way or the other. Either we land and give them to you, or they're dropping over the country. People laughed about it, but believe me, a lot of people said, let's just drop them the way they dropped on us. So it's a process, and it's a process that people on the other side are not willing to accept because they think it violates. First of all, you're here illegally. You do not possess the rights that a bona fide American does. I'm sorry.
Oh, of course not. Now, listen, you spent a whole first career in law enforcement. If there was a criminal, was there any sort of prohibition on the police going into a school to arrest him? Like some guy robbed a bank and then he was a substitute teacher the next day. I mean, why are people acting like it's a surprise that we're enforcing the law on school grounds?
Because we allowed them to do this. All right. The other side allowed them to do this. They allowed them to establish ground rules that are absurd. And then people just go that this is the norm now, instead of getting back to what the norm was. And the norm was go in there and protect the children in the school, get the criminals out, go in and get criminals off the street. Now, we have bail reform that came into play. That's ridiculous, the bail reform, and we're still fighting that. But you know what? If you want to do something, do it in moderation. But the way that the other side does it, and that's the naysayers. That's what I call them. The other side is the naysayers. The way they do it is they go full force on one focus, and that's it. There is no room to start off with, well, the guy who just stole a car, he's never had a problem before. Let's take a shot on him and give him bail until his case comes up. No, they're letting bona fide career criminals out there, and this is the end result from it. But imagine dealing with that and then dealing with the unknown of what's here right now, the variable of the criminal element that is here right now. It's scary.
Okay, so the criminal element, when we get past this first phase, I think they're going to get even louder. Are the American people going to be resolute in the mass deportations once we get past the criminal phase?
You would hope so, but look at the Cotton Pony show that they had out in Washington, with Chuck Schumer up there going, "We're going to win." I mean, he looks like Grandpa Munster up there. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're gonna win. You won nothing. You just keep dividing this country. They're going to challenge Trump on every level. I think there's about 36 challenges in court already to everything he signed. But we just hope we have a good Solicitor General that can get up there and just present these cases the way they have to before the Supreme Court.
Do we even have a Solicitor General confirmed yet?
No, not yet. Pam Bondi will probably, come up with somebody really good that can litigate these cases and on its merit, which is the way every case should be litigated, on the merit, not on public opinion or biased media opinion. You can't do these things, and people accept it. Oh, boo-hoo, and Selena Gomez. Oh my God, I'm so crying and everything. You know what? Were you crying for Laken Riley and everybody else? Were you crying for them? No. You cry for people that have no right to be here to begin with. I'm all for the American dream, but not at the expense of making it the American nightmare for everybody else.
Joe Cardinale, how do we find your work outside of WBAP?
Well, I'm still on Joe Cardinale for Assembly. I lost that race by about 800 votes. I will be, planning my run for the next 2 years, so I'll stay active with that. And we're going to make our voices heard. My opponent who won actually started a clinic for illegals on Zoom. And who's going to foot the bill for that? New Yorkers. So.
Okay. All right, Joe Cardinale, be in touch, and I appreciate your law enforcement expertise, because I haven't arrested anybody in my entire life. Joe Cardinale has. And so when I see the news outlets act like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe they're arresting people in their place of business. I can't believe they're actually raiding schools now. Do you think, am I the only one here? Do you think schools should be exempt from ICE raids? Where did this mindset come from? Is this what you voted for? Because you're being accused. Well, this is what you voted for. Yeah, I think this is exactly. Why are you acting surprised? Did you think we were really Nazis or something? No, we kind of wanted Elon Musk to go audit the place and lock y'all out and fire a bunch of people. That's not a flaw. That's a feature. What do you think? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Does it bother you if studs raids in school? Does it bother you? Do you find that abhorrent? Do you find that inhumane? Do you find that violating anyone's rights? Because on one side of the aisle, you have people saying, well, they're criminals. They did something illegal. You find a criminal, you arrest them. You don't get to skirt the law just because you step on a campus. And then you have the other side of the aisle. It's like, well, you can't have these people being scared to go to school. You can't have children being scared to go to school. You can't have teachers being scared to go to school. You have some teachers that were brought here when they were minor children, and they've been here for 30 years, and this is the only home they've ever known, and you're going to take them away just because they're illegal. And I hear a lot of people on the other side saying, yeah, actually, yeah. On which side are you? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This is another one where I feel like I'm walked into the middle of the movie and I must have missed something very important in the exposition in like the first 30 minutes or so. Because I don't understand this thought process, because just to grab an example, I had been flipping through my X, whatever Twitter is called now, feed, and there was a reporter in she writes for the Miami Dade Herald. I'm sorry for goofing this up. I'm just kind of rereading it. And so she has like a breaking alert 22 hours ago. A middle school science teacher in Miami-Dade detained by ICE. Okay. The Miami-Dade Teachers Union confirmed today that the teacher attended his immigration hearing and was detained. He had been in the U.S. since his youth and had DACA. He will likely be deported. And I was, okay, well, I guess that's newsworthy. Cool. But the responses to it is what got me interested. Now, this has been shared so much. 3.2 million people have viewed that tweet I just read you. So this is more than just some random reporter throwing something out there. This is kind of a flashpoint for the discussion that we're all having across all states right now in America. I'll give you an example. What is this, LAUSD? So Los Angeles Unified School District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho. He says, if this is true, it is unconscionable that a teacher of the children of our nation, a dreamer, would face the nightmare of uncertainty and deportation. Why is that unconscionable? I don't get that. It's unconscionable? Well, did they break the laws? Are they here illegally? Are they citizens? Are they natural-born citizens? No. Did they go through the legal immigration process and pay the fines and take the test and fill out the paperwork and go on the waiting list? No. They jumped the line. Is there a statute of limitations for this that ICE is violating? Not that I know of. So why is it unconscionable if we just enforce the law as it's written? If it's a flawed law, then you can make a case that the law's flawed. And we should change that, but not it's unconscionable. I really don't get this. It's unconscionable that a teacher of the children of our nation, a dreamer, would face the nightmare of uncertainty and deportation. You know, most teachers are great. More than half, for sure, are good people doing it for the right reasons. Probably about 2/3, maybe even 4 out of 5 teachers are great. But not all of them are awesome. What about this guy that just got caught here in Texas? He's a 43-year-old teacher. Got a little personal using Snapchat, but he's a teacher and a coach here in Texas, sending explicit messages to a 14-year-old boy. Is that okay if we go ahead and arrest him while he's in the middle of class? Because I would think so. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go put some cuffs and get him out of school as fast as we possibly can. This guy broke the law. Not only is the law, he's kind of a dangerous one. So if we're now going in and arresting people when we're in the criminal phase of the mass deportation program, you know, I think there's no question. If he's a criminal on top of being an illegal, of course, no one should even be saying any kind words about this guy or defending him in any case. But I still stand on the point that even if he didn't do anything additional, the fact that he is an illegal and he has committed felonies that he hasn't accounted for, there hasn't been justice for that. Doesn't bother me one bit. And I don't know. I don't know if it really bothers these people that we're enforcing the law at schools, or this is just their excuse to try and delay deportations that they didn't want to happen anyway. Is there some sort of special exemption for criminals on campuses that I'm not aware of? Because I really feel like I'm missing something here. If the superintendent of the Los Angeles Unified School District says it's unconscionable that a teacher of the children of our nation, a dreamer, would face a nightmare of uncertainty and deportation, there's a disconnect there. We're not living in the same world. I don't get that. Is it because they're a dreamer? You know, the average age of a dreamer is around 30. They act like they're all kids. No, these are people who were brought here when they were kids. Almost all of them are adults now. Everyone who's signed up for that. So what are y'all talking about? We're not talking about children. And it's like, well, he didn't have a say-so over whether or not he was brought here. He was a minor child. His parents brought him. Well, you might want to have a chat with his parents then. I didn't do anything wrong. The taxpayers of America didn't do anything wrong. His parents did something wrong, drug him along with it. But if I rob the bank, I don't get to go home and give the proceeds to my kids. And then even if I go to jail, my kid gets to keep the money. It's like, well, he didn't go rob the bank. He just was the beneficiary of his parents' crimes. Do we get it yet? See, I don't know if they really don't get it, if they're just being stubborn, if they're just trying not to lose the argument. I really can't tell. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk to Jean-Jacques Taylor. We'll replay his segment on the WBAP Morning Show, talking about Super Bowl Sunday. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk about Super Bowl Sunday parties. What's your go-to food? I'll tell you my family recipe after Jean-Jacques Taylor next on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, happy Friday, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Yeah, let's go. All right, we're just a couple days away from the Super Bowl, and I know some people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about sports. It's in the sports station. Stick with the news, whatever. Hang on. I'm not going to talk about like X's and O's and who has passing yards or passer rating or pick sixes or anything like that. John-Jacques Taylor is going to talk about that. He was on the morning show with WBAP. And look, this is short. It's just a couple minutes, but I want you to get sort of a good summary. So when you walk into the Super Bowl party that you're going to this weekend and you hadn't been paying attention all season, you won't be completely lost. John-Jacques Taylor on this morning's WBAP morning show. There he is, John-Jacques Taylor from this morning's WBAP morning show. Now, I've been asking you, and I'm starting to get some emails in, what's your go-to food, your party food? So in my family, we do the stuffed jalapenos. You take a jalapeno, you cut it in half, you get a spoon, you take all the guts out. Make sure to get all the seeds out or the kids will complain that it's too hot. If you leave some seeds in for me, I won't be upset. But take that middle part out. And then you fill it up, just get a spoonful of cream cheese and you fill it up to the top. And then you wrap the whole thing in bacon. And then you make like 60 of those and you bake it for 40 minutes at a 375. And it is fantastic. Now, I thought this was just like the food of my people until, one day this beautiful gas station, Bucky, shows up. And I go over to the freezer where they have all kinds of prepared foods. And I'd never seen this before. They had like the chicken that's stuffed with boudin. They had like a pork loin that's stuffed with like andouille sausage and cream cheese. And then I saw like on the top row, they had it. They had the stuffed jalapeno. So what's in it? Well, it's like cream cheese and it's like some bacon around it. I'm like, oh my God. This gas station knows me so well. How does this giant, wonderful gas station know the food of my people? And I look around and there's like Texas stuff everywhere, and there's like a cow skull, and there's beef jerky, and damn, no wonder I love Buc-ee's. All right, coming up next, you are going to love this story because of all the winning that's happening, whether it's through Doge shutting down U.S. aid, or whether it's the latest executive orders that signed, or the deportation efforts that are going on. I think this is a huge victory that you've probably heard me whine about like a little baby over the last year or so on the James Show. The NFL is taking in racism out of the end zones for the Super Bowl. What are they putting in its place? I mean, does it matter? No, it's better. You'll like it, but I'll tell you coming up in about 4 minutes on the James Show. Also, your Super Bowl party tips, 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. Sports fan, you're going to be watching the big game this weekend anyway. They have a couple of free squares for the big game. I was telling you about the Patrick Mahomes square where the statistic is 0.5 passing yards. So on all these statistics, you just pick more or less. Well, on this one, you pick more, and as long as Patrick Mahomes gets 1 yard, one of your squares wins. Well, they have another one for Saquon Barkley, and this isn't as easy. It's not as much of a freebie as the Patrick Mahomes one, but it's pretty close. His statistic is 0.5 touchdowns. Now, that's rushing or receiving touchdowns. And no, I don't know. You think Saquon Barkley is going to get one or more touchdowns in the Super Bowl? I'm not saying that to give me. Of course it's not. This is a game of skill, my friend. But that's all it takes. There's my lineup right there. And if you choose that, all you got to do is have Patrick Mahomes pass for 1 yard and Saquon Barkley to either catch or run for a touchdown, and boom, you're a winner. You've taken a little bit of money, turn it into a little bit more money, and you can do it with my money. Download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP for the big game, and with your first $5 play, you'll get $50 in promo cash that you can play with. So download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP, take my money, go play with it, turn it into more money, and thank me later. Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Run your game. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You know, there's a lot the NFL has done to just push away some of their fans, and some of it has to do with the rules and the way the game is played. Some of it has to do with the behavior of the players on and off the field. Some of it has to do with the way the management of the NFL has sided in some of these hot-button political issues. And, you know, this gave me a little bit of pause here when I was talking to Joe Pags, your new night host here on WBAP. He's on from 8 till midnight. But Joe Pags was on yesterday. And when I asked him about the Super Bowl, he not only gave me a tepid response, this was a downright negative response. Check this out. This is from yesterday's James Show. The Super Bowl. Who do you think is going to win, and who do you want to win? Because I'm amused by how many people have a different answer to that question.
I'll tell you this. I just found out, I think, yesterday who's in the game. I stopped watching NFL football when Colin Kaepernick was flopping around on the sideline. I used to love it. But I will be watching. I watch one game a year so I can have all my cheese sticks and my tater tots and maybe M&Ms. But I don't know who's going to win. It's the same two teams, right? Philadelphia and Kansas City. I guess Kansas City because I'm an AFC guy. I don't know.
All right. Well, that'll work. Okay, so that was yesterday on the James Show, Joe Pags saying that he has turned football off since the Colin Kaepernick thing. And what was that, 2016 or so, 2015? When did Colin Kaepernick start taking a knee? Well, you know, I have another close friend who watched football and loved it his entire life, a huge fan, same story. And so I know this is just anecdotal at this point, but how many people turned off football and never came back? Because I'm not a huge football fan. It's really the only sport I keep up with in adulthood. I used to keep up with all sports. Like when I was in high school and I could just sit down and read the paper and watch sports all day. It was great. But now these guys that are playing, whether it's basketball or hockey or football, they're like my kids' age almost at this point. So I'm old enough to be their dad, and it's lost some of its luster. And then, you know, when you meet enough of the players, you're like, these aren't upstanding, awesome human beings. They're just great athletes. And, you know, it kind of tampers your enthusiasm. I still respect what they do. They're amazing, and I have a couple of Cowboy shirts. It's fun. But I know quite a few people who've gotten turned off from football and never came back. A lot of it is political, but one of the interesting things I learned about myself, like I grew up in East Texas, so football was everything. In fact, my week was, all right, Thursday, you're either going to go to the 8th grade game or the freshman JV game, whichever one's home. And then Friday, you go to the varsity game. And then Saturdays for college football. And then Sundays for pro football for NFL. And then Mondays for Monday night football. And you really just have like Tuesday and Wednesday off. Your whole week is ate up with football as a good little rural Texan growing up. But when I went to college, after going to football every Friday, just multiple times a week for my entire life, I went to a school that ETBU didn't have a team. Now they do now, and it's Division III. No one really pays attention to it. But I thought this was going to be some big culture shock. The first time I had a Friday in my life where I didn't have a football game to go to. I didn't have a football team to root for. I definitely didn't care what my old high school did. My current college didn't have a team, and I didn't really care for other ones. And you know what I learned? I didn't miss it. I was surprised at how little I missed it, because you know what I did on those Fridays instead? Just the same thing I did the other Fridays when it's not football season. It was just a regular old Friday. And then Saturday, same story. It's almost like, well, I just gained a whole lot of free time during football season back. And so I'm not too surprised that I find out when some people get turned off by the sport and they go away that they don't necessarily come back, because I have some news that may surprise you. If you stopped watching football for a year or two, there's a good chance you wouldn't come back. You can lose interest in these things and not pick them back up. And I surprised myself as a guy who played football, thought it was my whole life. You know, and this is when the Cowboys were actually winning Super Bowls. For you younger people, the Cowboys used to win Super Bowls. I know y'all missed that. That's terrible for you. But one of the things that has been like a constant reminder, like a thorn in the side, that this game that you're watching is politically turned against you, is the messages in the end zone. This Super Bowl that's going to happen in 2 days will be the first one since 2021 that doesn't have end racism in the end zone. The NFL announced that they're changing out the message, and instead of it's saying end racism on one side and it takes all of us on the other side, it's going to say it takes all of us and Choose love. Oh, isn't that sweet? Choose love. The end racism was comical at best, insulting at worst. Comical because of all the American institutions that you could accuse of racism, I don't think the NFL is one of them. The NFL, where it's like 70-something% minorities, probably a little higher than that. And who are the greatest heroes of the game? I mean, who are we all applauding and worshiping basically this weekend? Let's see, Patrick Mahomes, he's half black. Saquon Barkley, all these other guys, they're put on a pedestal. This is one of the least racist institutions, maybe second only to the NBA in last place of who you accuse of racism. But here you got to turn on the TV, and they have end racism in the end zone ever since the George Floyd hissy fits. End racism. Who's on the other side of that argument? Is there someone out there that's pro-racist? Where are they? Who is the guy that is holding up the opposite side of that? Because on so many of these other political issues, there's at least an opposition. Like some people want to grow government. You probably want government to get smaller, right? Some people like public schools. You probably prefer school choice. Some people have one side of the aisle that is balanced on the other side of the aisle with the opposite opinion. But on the end racism, who are you arguing against? There's not one person in power. And Congress, Senate, White House, Supreme Court, all the state assemblies, all the governor's mansions, all the city councils, all the mayors of all the tens of thousands of cities. There's not one of them. If you put a microphone in front of them right now and you say, do you believe in racism? Are you a racist? Not one of them will say yes. So who are you talking to? It feels like a grooming thing. Like when you walk around downtown Dallas, like every 2-3 blocks, there's some sort of civil rights marker. Like, oh, there was a black fellow that was hanged here in 1904. And then you go past it. Here's a statue of Rosa Parks sitting on a park bench. And then you walk a little bit further and you're like, here's a waterfall that has a Martin Luther King saying behind it. It's almost like a constant reminder. They're keeping racism on life support with this messaging and this fantasy that they're fighting racists. Who? Because once the Democrats stop being racist and persecuting people and lynching and segregating, it's not like the Republicans picked up the mantle. You're arguing against nobody. And I don't know if this is just a side effect of the Trump effect or the larger death of wokeism, but that is definitely progress. There will not be end racism in the end zone for the Super Bowl. You got to call that a victory. All right, coming up next, here's an interesting question for you. What do you think causes more divorce? When one spouse gains a lot of weight or when one spouse loses a lot of weight? We'll ask a divorce attorney next. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. If you want to be a part of the show, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Tammy says her go-to Super Bowl party food is ribs. She's got 4 racks of ribs being seasoned right now for the party on Sunday, and I'm going to the wrong party, I think. I want to go to the rack of ribs party. What's yours? You can send me a Facebook message, email at jameswbap.com. Or, I mean, I guess you could call in 800-288-9227. I mean, I don't want to deter you from doing that, but if you want to hang on hold for 20 minutes to tell me a food option, that's up to you. Before I went to break, though, I proposed a question that I've never really thought of this before, but I'm not sure what the answer is going to be. Do you think divorce is caused more by one spouse losing a ton of weight or gaining a ton of weight? Oh my goodness, because if you start thinking around in your little personal sphere, you've probably seen both, haven't you? Let's ask Jennifer Hargraves. She's a family law attorney, regular on the James Show. Jennifer, I never thought of it like that. I thought of it in one way. I haven't really thought about which one happens more often. A couple splits up because someone loses a whole lot of weight. And in the era of Ozempic, I bet we're seeing this a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you have a spouse who experiences a significant change in their life, that could be weight loss or weight gain, it kind of can rock the marital boat a little bit, and sometimes not always in the best way. So, yeah, I mean, I like the way you framed the question, because I think the thing that's interesting about Ozempic is we usually think that weight loss might actually make a marriage better. People complain about weight gain, so we're not so surprised when divorces happen as a result of that. But I think it's the weight loss is a little bit more of a surprise.
So how much of this is just human beings only being as loyal as their next best option?
Yeah, well, that probably plays into it. You know, when you lose a lot of weight, suddenly maybe what you're willing to tolerate goes down because you realize you have other options. So, yeah, I mean, that happens.
That's my thought process there. Also, I think one of the takeaways from here is whether it's gain 100 pounds or lose 100 pounds, y'all should probably do it together.
Yes, that's right. And that way that will help mitigate against some of the big changes. But I think what people need to be just wary of and be aware of in their marriage is that it is the significant change that causes the imbalance. And people can find balance. It's a great time to go to therapy, I think. You know, and it isn't just weight loss. It can be a good job change. If you suddenly now you're out earning the other spouse, that can tip the balances and other things like that. So.
Yeah, I don't get that one. If Miss Parker all of a sudden comes home and she starts making like 3 times as much money as me, I'm hanging on to her even tighter.
You think that, but it might actually raise some insecurities. You never know. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, I can dry my crying eyes with $100 bills, Jennifer.
Exactly.
All right. So if you notice your spouse has a big change, like, should you be worried? Because whether it's, an inflation or deflation in the weight, I think both should cause a little concern.
I mean, I think it's concern in that, are there new things that we need to be talking about? Are there new dynamics at play? And, if you're supportive of your spouse, usually that's great. But what usually happens, especially when you see that your spouse is losing weight, it can bring up your own insecurities about, who they're hanging out with now. And so you're not so supportive, right? And when you're not supportive, that just kind of breeds that contempt. That's one of the deadly sins of a marriage.
Well, not to be mean here or too, I don't know, bombastic here, but I've always been interested in, how important appearance is in a relationship. And so when I look at Miss Parker, she's gorgeous. Of course, I can't do better than that. I'm not going to do anything to mess this up. But how do ugly people stay together, Jennifer?
Oh, my gosh. Well, maybe they value other things than just appearances. I think, there's the old adage that men marry women hoping they will never change, and women marry men hoping they will change, right? So, yeah.
Wow, that one, you hit me right in the heart with that one. Jennifer Hargrave, where do we find your work outside of WBAP?
You can visit us at www.hargravefamilylaw.com.
All right, thank you very much, Jennifer Hargrave. Appreciate it. Hope I didn't get her in trouble there, but I have questions. Some people have answers. Just throwing it out there. Also, I will continue. I have a couple more people sharing their favorite Super Bowl party food. Great suggestions. Keep them coming in. Send me an email, james@wbap.com. You can send me a Facebook message is how I'm going to read the next couple ones. Also, we have our next public event. Technically, it's our sister station, KLIF, but they're just down the hall, and we're all friends with each other. Brian Kilmeade, he's their mid-morning show on KLIF. He's doing a visit here to Dallas on February 26th. He's going to be right up the highway at Community Beer. So you can find details about them, communitybeer.com. It's super easy to find. It's like 35 in Commonwealth, like right before the 183 split where Mockingbird and all that is. So come on out. I'll be there. I'm going to try and get Garrett to go there. I'm pretty sure Clayton and Sybil will be there. We'll see if we can get Casey out there. Come out. We'll have a good old time. And in about an hour from now, a little less than an hour from now, we're going to play Name That Artist for 2 tickets to see Boys to Men. So got a lot for you on the show coming up. Next, some new info about the USAID funding scandal, because it's not just about wasting tax dollars. It's about how much of this is just funding a political facade, like a propaganda machine to pull the wool over the eyes of all the low information voters, not just in America, but in the world. That's coming up next on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Happy Friday. Your weekend starts in just about an hour. In about 45 minutes, we're going to play Name That Artist for Boys to Men tickets. Super Bowl is 2 days away, and now you people are making me hungry because I asked for what's your go-to Super Bowl party snack food. Tammy said a rack of ribs. She's winning thus far. But Alyssa not too far behind because she has like a whole buffet set up. She says, first off, BLT dip with Tostitos scoops. Oh, I approve of that. Wings dipped in blue cheese dressing. Okay. And then carrots and celery so I feel less guilty. It's not like we're like, oh, man, I got to get me some carrots and celery. That is just sort of the justification for you to eat meat dipped in bread and fried. And then we're going to dip it in what? Sugar and fat. Ranch dressing. Same thing there. But yeah, good suggestions there. Mary Lou says over here on Facebook, my favorite party food is popcorn and homemade meatballs and small sausages in a sweet barbecue sauce. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. So you take the crock pot, and whether you do the meatballs or the little smoky sausages, you do barbecue and like a whole or half a jar of grape jelly, I believe is the secret sauce. Isn't it? All right, now you're making me hungry. All right, if you want to get your suggestion in, I'll be sharing some of those, it's like, what's a better home and garden section of the James Show? We do this from time to time. But USAID is one of the many headlines that have been floating through over the week. And I want to compile 3 different clips here for you to give you a little bit of context. First off, I like this idea that we're supposed to feel sorry for people getting fired from government. Like, I feel sorry for anyone getting fired. I don't delight in these people having their lives overturned, and you got to look your kids in the face and say, I don't know where rent's coming from this month or whatever. I've been there. I work in radio. I've been there like 7 times. You know how many times I've been laid off or fired or whatever? But there's nothing special about government workers where we're supposed to feel sorry for them. Here's Samantha Power. Under the Obama administration, she was our UN ambassador, if I remember correctly. Isn't that what she was? She was like a director of national intelligence or something before that. Anyway, she was in the Obama administration, but she was the USAID chief under Biden. She recently got fired, or I think she stepped down. But here she is trying to make like a sad case here, like a pity party for these people who, I don't think any of them should have jobs in the first place.
The people who work at USAID did not come to work at USAID for the money. The civil servants, the foreign servants, the contractors.
Oh, stop it. Yeah, they're just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're just doing the right thing. They're not doing it for the money. You think they go to office? You think they get up and they go and they waste your taxpayer dollars on Serbian global warming initiatives for the money? No, their heart is in the Serbian carbon footprint, I guess. I know, it's just so silly anyway.
They came to USAID because they wanted to make a difference in the world, because they saw America's interests as tied up with the interests of people, vulnerable people around the world. And so even as they're struggling to
do we finish this? Yeah, we should finish.
Figure out how to make rent, all of a sudden, they're most struggling with the fear that so many millions of people who relied on us as a country, on USAID as an agency, but on them as individuals, that those individuals out in the world have no place to turn. And indeed, they're showing up and finding health clinics shuttered and soup kitchens closed.
All right. Good. This is a good point. I'm glad you said this, Samantha Powers, because if they're not just in this for the money and they just want to make the world a better place, there's people who are depending on them. The people who ran that soup kitchen grant, whoever filled out the paperwork and was funneling money to some soup kitchen in Moldova. Now that they're in the private sector, are they going to continue that? Are they going to continue without being paid, making sure the soup kitchen in Moldova still has proper resources? No, they're going to move on to what? What gives them the most money that they're qualified for right now? Well, whatever's best for their immediate self and their immediate family, that's what they're going to do. We are not supposed to be on the hook for everybody on planet Earth that is suffering. My God, we can't even hardly afford our own groceries right now. I don't care. Someone's going to a clinic right now and where? Because if it's not America, I don't care. I don't care, USAID. I don't care if you have great intentions. And who says it's a good deal just because people get services out of it? I like to use the example of what if I started a program where I took and I fed the people, the homeless people in downtown Dallas, and I fed them pizza. And every night we had a pizza party, and I would just get pizza until pizzas ran out. That would be a pretty nice thing to do, right? Everyone's got food and stuff. Well, what if I was taking the money from your bank account and I was spending $1,000 per pizza? Is that still a good idea? You would say, no, that's a terrible waste of resources. It's immoral because you're stealing from me. You're taking it from me by force, number one. But number two, you're not getting a good return on our dollars. And if you just left it to us, we could solve that same problem at a fraction of the cost without all the grift. And then what would the response be? Well, looks like you just want all the poor people in Dallas to starve. You don't want homeless people in Dallas to starve. Now take out the Dallas and make it some random person in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Makes no sense now, does it? Anyway, so that's one of the fun underpinnings of the USAID argument. I'm trying to get this guy on from White Coat Waste Project, Goodman. I saw this interview that he did on the Rich Zeoli show out of Philadelphia. And I think I'm going to be able to get him on next weekend. His name's Dr. Goodman.
USAID, which is making all the news today because something that Elon Musk and Doge have identified. The United States Agency for International Development, it sounds great, right? I mean, it really does. It sounds great. But what have they done? What role have they played in all of this with Wuhan, with COVID, with other viruses, with other experiments against animals?
Yeah, so we exposed a few years ago, we actually got documents through a lawsuit against the federal government that USAID gave funding to the U.S. nonprofit EcoHealth Alliance, the quote unquote conservation biodiversity furry nonprofit, to send to the Wuhan lab specifically for gain of function experiments to take these wild coronaviruses and supercharge them and make them more infectious and more deadly and more contagious to human beings. And we have the receipts showing not only do we have the records showing that USAID sent our money to the Wuhan lab through EcoHealth specifically for this project, but the guy, Ben Hu, the Wuhan lab animal experimenter, who has been identified as a potential patient zero for COVID-19, Wall Street Journal covered this a couple of years ago. Our records specifically show that USAID was funding Ben Hu, patient zero, specifically to do these animal experiments where he was taking back coronaviruses, putting them into humanized mice to make them more dangerous to humans. So there is a paper trail. If you follow the money, it takes you from USAID to EcoHealth to patient zero at the Wuhan laboratory.
Congratulations, taxpayers of America. You funded the creation of the COVID-19 bioweapon in an illegal lab with a collaboration between USAID and the Chinese Communist government. Kind of a big story, don't you think? Coming up next, you're going to delight in the audio of a bunch of congressmen who are locked out of the Department of Education building, and you'll just hear them whine to the security guard for a few minutes, and we're all just going to giggle about it together. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Happy Friday. Let's go. Here's a warning. Name That Artist may be the toughest version of Name That Artist. Now, I don't want you to not call in because it's actually really good tickets. We got Boys to Men. Boys to Men? Bro, if this was high school, James, I'd be fighting you for them. But Name That Artist is our game show where we play a montage of 10 songs. And you got to call in and guess the artist. Now, I'm going to play it in the next segment, and then you're going to be like, oh, I know all those songs. And you'll call in and line up. And then when we play it again, you're going to write them all down. So when I go to you, you can just list them off. If you know any of these, actually, if you know half of these, I will be impressed. I think I've got 4 of them. Yeah, hang on. I didn't get that one. I did get that one. I would have got that one if I had a little more time. I think I got 3 of these. Yeah, 3 out of 10. It's a tough one. However, I'm 47, and I think if you're about 6 years older than me to 16 years older than me, this is right in your alley. Bruce makes these most of the time, so some of this is before my time, but it's really good tickets, Boys to Men. That's kind of awesome. Also, we have Brian Kilmeade coming to town, our sister station, KLIF. He's their afternoon guy, and he's going to be here December 26th at Community Beer. February 26th. I don't know why I said December. I'll be there. Some the air talent from KLIF will be there. The morning show, Clayton and Sybil will be there. So come on out. It'll be fun. Say hi. And we also have one of the contests we have going on where you got to text the word to our phone number to win. Alabama Shakes just got added to that lineup, and that is another band I'm actually a huge fan of. They're going to be in town not until September 27th, but you can get tickets at livenation.com or text Shakes for, like Alabama Shakes. Text the word Shakes to 800-288-9227 for your chance to win a pair of tickets. All right, now let's get to my favorite audio of the day. I've told you on the James Show before that my dream job is whatever Scott Jennings is doing right now. And it's not going to be Scott Jennings much longer, but on CNN, they often have just a token guy that disagrees. You'll be at a table where they're discussing the issues of the day, and 4 of them agree and 1 of them doesn't. I want to be the one guy that doesn't, and I want to be arguing against everyone and have everyone be arguing against me. And then I want to just sit there like that little white cat at the dinner table, and in the other frame, the blonde lady's like yelling at her and pointing the finger. I love being that cat. So I think I found a job I like even more than Scott Jennings. I don't know who this dude is. As far as I'm concerned, he's an American hero. But Doge turned their sights on the Department of Education. Oh, I know. That just gets me excited. Are we finally going to cut that nasty tumor out of our education system, out of D.C.? Please, God, there's few programs that have embarrassed themselves and wasted money more prolifically than the Department of Education. I mean, seriously, when they started it, the onus, like the whole mission statement of the Department of Education was to improve scores and decrease cost. And every year that they've been at this, costs go up and scores go down. So not only is it they're not reaching their goals, they've gone in the opposite direction. Like they've done the opposite of what they stated their goals are. And if you can't shut it down under those circumstances, then you're just incapable of admitting failure. So the beautiful part about that is there's actually a building, Department of Education, where the Doge nerds went. Just this parade, like the Geek Squad. They go slow motion walking into the Department of Education, and then some Congress critters find out, and they go swarm. Now, it's such suspicious activity. You have some people that are going into this office. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to try and find all the waste, fraud, and abuse in the Department of Education. And if your response is, oh, my God, we got to stop them, that's a pretty sketchy position to take. Nevertheless, here we are. What you can't see is that there is a gaggle, and when I mean more than a dozen people that are walking up to the front door of the Department of Education. Now, there's not a phalanx of Roman guards in front of it. It's just one dude who's standing there in a polo shirt, and he's bald, and he's pretty well emotionless, but you'll recognize some of these voices. You'll hear Maxine Waters. You'll hear a few other congressmen that you may recognize their voice trying to get past him. And they just can't understand why they're not allowed in the Department of Education. And they're throwing out all the trite things and the intimidation tactics that probably work most of the time. It just doesn't work today because, technically speaking, legally speaking, this is part of the executive branch. The executive branch is run by the president. So really, Congress doesn't have any authority to just demand, you've got to open this door. You've got to let us in. You can and can't do things. No, he's the boss of the Department of Education. This is all under the executive branch. He can lock the doors if he wants. He can fire whoever he wants at any time. So when they show up and they start hurling all these accusations at the guy, it's his job to just say, nope, you can't come in. Why not? Well, you don't have an appointment. We don't have any business here. What do you mean we don't have any business here? We're congressmen. Okay, do you have an appointment? Well, we sent an email to your boss saying that we demand a meeting. Yes, but that meeting wasn't granted, so it's not on the schedule. You can't come in. I want this guy's job. This seems like the greatest job in the world. They're like, do you know who we are? He's like, yup. And doesn't open the door. It's the greatest. I'm going to take a break in 4 minutes. You're going to hear just a great American hero. I mean, this guy maybe he should be president after this Donald Trump 4 years. But if there's ever a dream job I've had, it is to tell congressmen that they can't go into a big, dumb federal agency that doesn't deserve to exist because it's about to be closed right in front of their face. Oh, my God, it's so delicious. This is just libertarian porn coming up in 4 minutes on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I wish I knew this guy's name, but we'll probably know before the show comes on Monday. But this is my dream job. A bunch of angry congressmen and women and their staffers and some people with cameras try to storm the Department of Education this morning. This happened today on Friday. And there's some bald guy there with his reading glasses that are just sitting up above on the top of his bald head, and he's just nonplussed by the entire experience. He doesn't care about any of their whining, their griping, their very lame excuses for why they demand, do you know who I am? Oh, and it's just so delicious to see like this group of entitled people just totally full of themselves, totally enamored with their own power, try and bully their way into a place where they're wrong. They don't deserve to be there. They have no right to be there. And the Department of Education is a stinking tumor that should be disbanded as soon as possible. So they're just wrong in every sense of the word. And this dude just so calmly, so coolly, just telling them, no, I'm not opening this door.
Okay, we're coming in. We're coming in.
That's Maxine Waters. You recognize her.
Don't lock the door. We're coming in. Who are you?
You're not coming in.
Who are you?
Who under whose
Who are
orders?
you? Who are you?
Who are you, sir? Do you have business here? Yes.
I
have sent the secretary. I have sent the assistant secretary a letter alerting her that we would be here today, and we've asked her for a meeting. Yeah, I don't know that that's been accepted. So until that's accepted,
All right, you catching on this? Yeah. Well, we told your secretary that we demand a meeting. Well, that hasn't been accepted, so you don't have business here. And they're acting all outraged. Is this how their life usually works? They can just walk around and demand to be let into any building or meet with anyone at any time? Because, you know, the Department of Education, it exists. So the Secretary of Education is a cabinet level official. And it's one human being that has 24 hours in a day and cannot, just as part of a metaphysical limitations, meet with every demand that is put upon them. And so you have to selectively keep a calendar and choose who you meet with and when you're going to meet with them and when you don't. And you can't just barge in, like you, guy listening, you can't barge in right now and demand to meet with the manager of our radio stations here, Dan Bennett. Can you just say, I demand to meet with him right now? Say, no. Do you have an appointment? No. Well, you would be turned around at the front desk here. You'd be turned right back around. We would push you and you'd be in the plaza right in front of the American Airlines Center. So I just love seeing these people. They're just so full of themselves. They pull the old, do you know who I am? And the guy is so cool. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't smile. I think he's trying to hold back smiles half the time. He's just being cool and just answering their questions that are relevant and not opening the door and not cowing and not bowing. And it's just so delicious. Here's some more.
And what do you do here?
What do you do here? Security responsibility.
Get out of the way. We pay for your job.
Oh, I would love to have Maxine Waters say, get out of the way. We pay for your job. No. I don't know how he doesn't laugh at this point. Because like he's not getting angry. I don't think I'd get angry either. I'd be enjoying this too much. Get out of the way. Oh, are you kidding? You know how long I've been waiting to tell you no?
We pay you.
We're members of
we
Congress.
pay you.
We're not
Nobody is accepted a meeting.
members of Congress.
You are.
We haven't heard that from the secretary. We haven't heard that from the spokesman. I'm relaying that.
Sir,
You are not the spokesman for the department. You are a security guard.
Can you
identify?
So he's got some sort of ID on his belt that's on a retractable string, and he holds it up a couple times. And when they ask him like the fourth and the eighth time, he's like, I already showed you. And dude, I don't know how he doesn't laugh. Here's a little bit more. This goes on for 12 minutes. If I thought it'd be good for the ratings, I'd play the whole 12 minutes. But go watch the whole thing. I mean, I think I'm going to turn this on when I'm sitting in traffic on the way home because it's so relaxing. It's like Calgon, take me away.
Are you prepared to stand here all night if we decide to stay?
I guess, yes.
I guess,
You
yeah.
just stay right there. You just stay and stand.
Why aren't you letting us go to that desk like we were able to do last year?
Because he's a hero. That's why.
He's not a U.S. employee.
This is a public institution.
Elon Musk hire you?
So are you not aware of members of Congress
I'm
who
a
have
federal employee working
responsibilities
for the education
We're trying to
department.
save your job.
He's not a federal employee. Just like I'm telling you.
Oh my God, I could do this forever. It's so delicious. Let's just do this at every dumb federal agency that needs to be closed. I want the same guy. I want this same dude. Looks like this guy I used to work with named Jim Dennis, actually. Jim Dennis, are you listening? This guy looks like you. I love it so much. John and Irving, you're on WBAP. Your thoughts?
Oh, I'm having so much fun. I believe that education and government don't go hand in hand. It's a quick way to lead to tyranny, and the government telling everybody what to read. I think we should have minimum education standards for things like voting or other deals, but no public school.
Well, I understand the idea of public school. You know, like 100 years, we became wealthy enough that we're like, if we just pulled a little bit of money, we could build some schools and then everybody could go for free. And, oh, that sounds kind of nice because, you know, back in the day when we all had 6 kids, that seemed like a super helpful program. But we've seen the result of that. 100 years ago, before public education started, we had kids that were graduating from high school that could read and write in Latin. They knew the classics. They knew, you know, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, and they were far more educated than the average guy who falls out of 12th grade these days.
Very eloquent.
So also, John, let's see how far down we go. We all agree that the Department of Education at the federal level, unconstitutional, shouldn't exist. Do you think we should have a Department of Education at the state level?
The more local, the better. The would be great with as they have now the sharing between different districts. It's definitely preferable to a federal system.
Are you
nothing but a failure?
Are you willing to go so far as to say we should just get rid of the public school system altogether?
Man, I want to.
Well, I think we'll get there. I'm pretty much there. I think it'll have its flaws, but the flaws by abolishing public schools would be smaller than the flaws that have been borne out about by having public schools. I mean, you just go to the DMV and look around. Half of those people graduated. You think they all deserved it? Oh, man. I love this conversation, and I just can't wait to – I'm just going to watch this video on the break. It's so fun. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. We're playing Name That Artist next for Boys to Men tickets on The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Who wants to play Name That Artist? We're playing today for Boys to Men tickets. Yeah, Boys to Men tickets. They're going to be at WinStar April 19th. Get tickets now at winstar.com, but someone's going to win some here on Name That Artist. Now, here's how we play. Garrett's going to play the montage. If you know all 10 of these songs and you want to go see Boys to Men on April 19th, then you're going to call in 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Write them all down. So when I go to you, you can just list them all out. All right. Here's the montage. Go. Who sings Flashdance? So wide open. Man, that's cold. He didn't even play the chorus of Mr. Bojangles, just the verse. This is the hardest one you've ever made, Bruce. All right, if you know all those, the artists of those songs, call in 800-288-9227 for your chance to win Boys to Men tickets. I'll play the montage again, give you a chance to write them down. But right now, you need to bother Garrett over here. Call 800-288-9227. And while the phones are loading up here, let's go back to my new favorite hero. I mean, this just happened this morning. This isn't even a 12-year-old audio clip yet, and it's delicious. If you're just joining us, we're just giggling over here about a bunch of congressmen who tried to storm into the Department of Education, and some guy who's, I guess, a security guard of some sort was blocking them. And just to hear their wailing and gnashing, they sound like middle school kids.
So do you understand who members of Congress are? I got it, yeah.
Wait. I think that's my favorite part. Do you understand who members of Congress are? He goes, I got it. Yeah. Just the emotionless part of it makes it even funnier.
So do you understand who members of Congress are? I got it. Yeah. Well, and you don't care. Who are we then? Got the job to do. You don't care. We have a job to do.
We're not dangerous people. We're not. I don't know. Security. There are no thieves and thugs out here. We're members of Congress. We're parents. We're teachers.
You know, this is like when your kids like sneak candy into their room and they're not supposed to have candy in their rooms. And so you go to find it and they're like, definitely don't look in the toy box. That's for sure. It's like, well, you're telling me something suspicious is going on. The way you're storming the Department of Education. What are you worried about them finding? What are you worried about them finding in USAID? What are you worried about them finding in the Department of Education, Department of Labor, and whatever else they're going to go through next? I just love this so much. And I guess they're used to them being able to just push people around. Do you know who I am? He's like, yep, I know.
Our kids well, not only are they not letting us in.
Wait. Yeah. So this is the phase. Now, I've been skipping ahead. We're like almost 10 minutes into this, and the Congress people realize that they're not going to get in no matter what threats they make to this guy's job or whatever. So they turn around and they just start talking to nobody. They know cameras are out there, so they just start doing this little performative grievance barking.
Well, not only are they not letting us in, now they've called the Department of Homeland Security. We are members of Congress here
stay
to
here
talk
now, for real,
with the Department of Education, and they're
And
treating
the kids deserve to have us
Yes,
go in and fight for
absolutely.
them.
This is appalling.
The children of this country deserve that.
That's so great. All right. We got a couple Name That Artist people. Do we need to play the montage again? Let me ask. Kim, do you have them all written down, Kim and Frisco, or do I need to play the montage again?
I'd love to hear it again, but I think I'm iffy on one. But
Are you writing them down? Do you have a piece of paper, or can you type it in on your phone?
Yeah.
All right. We'll play the montage again. Here, I'll put you on hold. All right, hit it again. All right. What? Why do you leave the dog part in there? All right. Why do you leave the dog part in there? That's so sad. All right. Kim and Frisco, you with me here?
Yep.
All right. Let's hear your list. Ready for Name That Artist? Go.
Okay, number one, the babies, I think.
Yep, that'll work. Bobby's, that'll work.
Cliff Richard.
See, I missed that one. Well done.
Number three, Olivia.
Yes.
Newton-John.
Yep. And then the next one's Flashdance. Who sang Flashdance?
Irene Cara.
Wow. See, I missed that one too. Next.
Brian Adams.
Yep. Next one, I've never heard of this band until today.
Well, I'm going to take a guess. It's in my head, but is it like Sniffing Tears? Sniff the Tears?
You are good. Okay. You are a hero, Kim. All right. Next. You got it. Yeah. Sniffing the Tears.
I think seven is Marie Osmond.
Wow. Okay. Keep going.
Next one was Kathy Mattea.
Yes.
9, Barry Manilow.
Yep. And you got one left. The Mr. Bojangles song is?
Is that like Nitty Gritty?
Oh, my God. You're awesome, Kim. Kim and Frisco. You didn't even give Brian and Plano a chance to steal it over there. Congratulations. Yeah, you should be happy. I got, seriously, the first time I ran through that with Bruce before the show, I got 3. I got 3 of those. So you're kind of amazing, Kim. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, don't hang up. I'm going to put you on hold. Garrett's going to get your information. We'll email you the tickets. All right. Coming up next, you're going to hear local satirist, primetime Alex Stein from The Blaze. He pranked the Dallas City Council this week, and you'll hear his 3-minute rant about the Mavericks coming up next on The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I realize almost nobody that's listening right now, 10 minutes before the end of the show, got to hear the first segment of the show, so I'm going to play this again. This is a guy that you probably heard some of his bits, if not on WBAP, floating through your social media feed. He's the guy that goes in front of the Plano City Council or the Dallas City Council and either sings a song or does some sort of performative character work. And in this one, he went, I believe this might have just been yesterday. It was Wednesday, at least, if not yesterday. And he goes and he has a strong 3-minute rant about the Dallas Mavericks. He was our guest. So if you like what you hear on this segment, you'll probably want to go pick up the podcast and listen to the 2 segments I did with him earlier. He has a show on the Blaze, Glenn Beck's outfit. And it's some funny stuff. I'll have the videos are already going to be up on the Facebook and the X feed for WBAP, but I'll put the podcast up later too. This is Alex Stein in front of the Dallas City Council yesterday.
Technical foul on the Mavericks. Ejection. Nico Harrison. Listen, I come up here all the time and I give you guys the business, but today I am not an adversary. Today I am a friend, not a foe, because we have all been cheated. The Dallas Mavericks traded our franchise player, Luka Doncic, for Anthony Day-to-Day Davis, a 32-year-old who wears street clothes more than he wears a basketball jersey. I am sick and tired of our city being mismanaged by our pro sports franchise. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. They hired Brian Schottenheimer. He stinks. He's never even been a coach at any level, so I'm sick of it. They gave us a crappy coach, and now you take away our best player, Luka Doncic. And it's all work. It's obviously rigged. The NBA is rigged. There's a ref, Tim Donaghy, who got arrested and went to jail for rigging games. So let me tell you something. This is why I come here, because Miriam Adelson is about to move this team. That's right. They're not going to get any legal gambling here in Dallas. So that's why they're tanking the Mavericks to get good favor with the league, so that when they say we want to move the team to Las Vegas, the league will say, oh, well, you helped us out so much. You gave the league's biggest star, Luka Doncic, to play with LeBron James, the league's biggest other star. And so you help our ratings that are massively failing. And let me tell you something. I have experience in this. I'm a youth basketball referee. This is real. And there was a time when I was drinking and I was using and I was in a low point. And I'll be honest, I have fixed a youth basketball tournament. And it was not my proudest moment, but I needed the money at the time. My wife was, seeing other men, and I caught her.
All right. He really gets out of pocket after a while, and then he's going to start singing a song if you want to hear the whole thing. If you hadn't seen it already online, just go listen to the first hour of the James Show from today. It was fantastic. All right, a couple of reminders before I get out of here. Brian Kilmeade's coming to town February 26th. It's a event with our sister station, KLIF. Also, the Outlaw 2025 tour is coming to Dos Equis Pavilion July 5th. Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan are going to be headlining. Get tickets and information at livenation.com, or it's one of the contests we're running on WBAP right now. The same number I give you to call into the show, you text the word outlaw to that number, outlaw, to 800-288-9227. Text outlaw to 800-288-9227. That'll get you entered in the contest to win some tickets to go see Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, Dos Equis Pavilion, July 5th. All right, go have a great weekend. It officially starts now. You have my permission to start your adult beverages. Go enjoy the Super Bowl. Be safe, because I need you to, I can't lose any listeners. I need you back here on Monday. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.